In this next question, we are supposed to draw a cumulative frequency curve, and something that we need to realize is that you need to have a cumulative frequency which is obtained from the frequency, and then you plot a graph of cumulative frequency against the upper class limits. And in this case here, the upper class is 10, then we go 10, we move up to 7. For 20 we move up to 24. For that we move up to 42. For 40 you move up to 56, and to 50 you move up all the way to 66, and then finally for 60 you move up to 70. Then how do you use your graph to estimate the interquartile range? The first thing that you need to do is to find the upper quartile, and to find the upper quartile is 3/4 times the total cumulative frequency, which is 70, and that gives us 52.5. So we were to go here and check where we have 52.5. We draw a line across, and then where it meets the curve you drop a line up to this point, which I got it as 36. Then we need also to find the lower quartile, and the lower quartile is going to be 70 times a quarter. That becomes 17.5. So I'll move to this point and check where's my 17.5 on the y-axis. I go across where it meets the curve, I read down here, which is 16.3. So in order 16.5 in order to determine the interquartile range, I should subtract the 2, and my answer becomes 19.5. Use your graph to find an estimate of the number of teachers who travel more than 46 kilometers. So we were to go here and check where we have 46 kilometers. Then you move up, you read the value here, which is 63, because we want to know these are the teacher up to 46 kilometers. So since we want to know those who travel more than that, it will be 70 minus the value that we have obtained, which means that that is going to be 7 teachers who travel that particular distance. Right, if you are new to Proflan YouTube channel, consider subscribing so that anytime I'm going to upload the third part of this series, you'll be notified. Also, if you are watching this after some time, you can be able to check in the description. I've added a link that will take you straight to part 3 of this paper. So if you want also to get the PowerPoint presentation I'm having here, you need to join our Patreon page so that you can be able to download my working that I'm presenting at this point. We are going to move to question number 14, whereby you are told to show that 3y into 2y plus 5 into y plus 7 can be written in the form ay cubed plus by squared plus cy, where a, b, and c are integers. So which means that you are expanding the bracket. So I started by expanding what I have here, then I opened everything by 3y, and that translated to 6y cubed plus 57y squared plus 105y. To solve these fractional algebraic expressions, I needed you to multiply all through by the LCM of this number so that we can get rid of the fraction. And of course 100 multiplied here, 5 will go here 20 times, 4 will go to 125 times, and 100 will cancel out. We shall have 163. So you just open the bracket, that's 20 times 2x, 20 times 3 you get 60, 25 times 6 you get 150, and then 25 times 5 you get negative 125. Then you put the like terms together, solve for x, and your answer is going to translate to 1.2. So these are the kind of questions that you really expect to do in your coming exams. Make sure you do more practice on algebraic fractions and how to solve equations. Also, making subject of the formula is another question that really features most of the time in an exam. And we were supposed to make g the subject of the formula, and I can see the first thing I did is to remove the square root by squaring both sides, and then I multiplied whatever we are having at the denominator both sides so that I can be able to get rid of the fraction. I arranged in such a way that I'm having those terms with g. What I want to make the subject, you make them on one side so that you can be able to factor g out and then divide all through by the expression that's remaining inside here. We get our g being to 11 e squared minus 5 over 7 minus 2 e squared. Right, I believe you are learning much on how you can be able to work that out. Let's move to the next question, and this question is to do with quadratic inequalities. So the first thing that you need to do when you are given a quadratic inequality is to remove the inequality part and replace that with an equal sign. Then solve that the way you could solve a quadratic equation so that you can get the principal values. Our x is 8/3 or our y is -4. So you are going to draw a symbol of a curve and then an x-axis. So you identify on the x-axis, of course, that where the curve cuts the x-axis, that's the solution. So that will be -4 and that will be 8/3. So since this inequality is pointing greater than 0, it means the upper part is the region of the upper part of the axis. So which means at this point we are interested with the values which satisfy the upper part of the graph. In that case, this will be the values x greater than 8/3 or values of x less than -1, -4. So this is how you are supposed to write your answers. X is greater than 8/3 or x is less than -4. We have a question to do with sets, and I've tried to fill in using the information that was provided, and you can be able to see all the working for that in that section. Can move to question number that this question requires to study proportion and to find the constant. Yes, q is directly proportional to the square root of d. So the equation for that, it will be q equals to k root d. We are given q 4.5 and d 324, so meaning we are going to substitute those values here so that we can be able to find the exact value of k, and that becomes 1/4 or 0.25. So q is equals to 1/4 root d. In some question they will now give you another value of d so that you can be able to find what the value of q is the next, but this one they wanted you only to find the equation of q and how it's connected with d. Right, so next 18, a straight line P has the equation 5y plus 2x equals to 7. We are supposed to find the gradient of the straight line that is perpendicular to P, perpendicular to this line. So first we have to make this line in the form y equals to mx plus c, and then we divide by 5 both sides by taking first 2x on this side, it becomes -2x, then divide by 5 all through. We are going to get y is equals to 1 -2/5x plus 7/5. Then that means that we are going to use the relation m1 times m2 equals to -1. So because the gradient in this case is -2/5, so we're going to say -2/5 just times the gradient that is perpendicular to P is going to be -1. If you rearrange, you're going to get your answer as 5/2. We have number 19, whereby we're told that g is equals to c/2f minus 3h, and this is about bounds, and then you are supposed to work out the lower bound of g. In order to find the lower bound of g, it means c must be a lower bound, f must be an upper bound, and h must be a lower bound. So in order to find what you need to add or minus, look at the information provided here. Whole number, the smallest whole number is 1. So what do you add? You take that smallest number here, divide by 2. So 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. So you'll be, in order to get the limits for this value of c, it will be plus or minus 5. Here you are told correct to 2 decimal places. So the smallest number will be 0.01. 0.01 divided by 2 will give you 0.005. So you should add or minus that here. Here you are told correct to 1 decimal place, so meaning the smallest number is 0.1. Then 0.1 divided by 2 is going to give us 0.05. So that is exactly the absolute error in that case. So in order to find the lower bound here for C, lower bound will be 8 minus 0.5, which is 7.5. To get the upper bound for F, it will be this plus 0.005, so that it becomes 6.625 minus H is a lower bound, so it will be H, which is a 1.2 minus 0.05, and this becomes 0.765. So that is exactly what you are supposed to do in order to work out. But remember, 2 must be multiplied to the number because it was 2F and that was 3. This has to be multiplied as well. And also something that you need to have in mind is that always you need to check the number of significant decimal places you are supposed to give, or the number of significant figures. Given that k is equals to x minus y and x is equals to 1 over 4y, express 5k over x plus 2 in the form this. So the first thing that we need to identify is that this is 5k, but 5k can be replaced, k can be replaced by x minus y and over x plus 2. But since our equation that we're finding is in terms of y, anywhere we have x, we're going to replace 1 over 4y. So that's exactly what I did. So immediately you've expressed this. In order to get rid of this 4y here, you can multiply both numerator and denominator by 4y, so that you can get rid of the fraction, and our equation is going to reduce to 5 minus 20y squared over 1 plus 4y. Alright, so before we move to question number 21, I would like to bring to your attention that this video has been prepared by Proflan, and Proflan prepares videos on EDEXCEL and Cambridge Math and Physics for both IGCSE and A levels. If you are taking exams on this exam board, consider subscribing so that as you are proceeding to your levels, you'll be able to get tutorials which will be guiding you on how you can be able to do well in this subject. You can also consider sharing this tutorial to your friends and classmates so that they can also benefit in a way of supporting the channel. We are going to look into question number 21, whereby we are told that shows a square and a circle inside. Then we are told that the sides of the sides of the square are the tangent to the circle, so meaning the circle is inscribed in the square. So the first thing that we were supposed to do, because we were given the area of the shaded part, the area of this shaded region is actually 80 centimeters square, then we were supposed to work out the length of AC, meaning the diagonal of the square. What I decided to do is first to find the area of the square, but I decided that let the radius be r. If the radius is r, it means the side of the square is going to be 2r. So the area is going to be of the square is going to be 2r times 2r will be 4r squared. Area of the circle will be pi r squared, and then if you subtract, you are going to have this equation. So if you work out this equation, put the like terms together and find the square root for r, because this is r squared, you are going to get your r being 9.65 centimeters. So with this, we'll know that the side of a square is 19.3. So if you use Pythagoras theorem, because this is a right angle triangle here, it will be 19.3 squared plus 19.3 squared, and you find the square root, it will be 27.3. Moving to the next part in question number 2 is the next part. You can be able to check the link in the description. I'll be able to add the final part of this video. See you in the next video.